Oh, you're doing the Gen Z thing.
The Gen Z. The clap for myself.
Nicole managed to snake the recording button.
It felt so good.
Welcome back, everyone, to It's Cool Us Too, the podcast for women in their 30s about designing their dream life on their terms and their timeline.
You went full anchor voice there. I kind of liked it.
Anchor woman.
Yeah.
We've got a great episode today. Oh my gosh.
We just finished recording. And this is someone that Meg and I have known for years. Never really in this light. No. I know her personally as a friend and stuff too.
Nicole,
but
you've been quite close with Sarah.
Yeah.
For a long time. She was my boss, and we worked at a shoe store together, and I was not a fantastic employee, but she says on the podcast I was. So I appreciated that.
Yeah, no, I honestly think we haven't had a conversation like this in a little while. It's such a brilliant story of, as you put it at the end there, Meg, like of resiliency, of self-trust, of just really what
getting through some hard shit.
Capable of, yeah. And like, we do not want to hold you guys up from this episode because it's really worth it, and we really want you guys to listen to this. So we will be back next week with bigger updates, more what's going on in our lives day to day. But we hope you guys enjoy. Please share with a friend. Please subscribe if you aren't already. It does so much for us. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok, and just, any of our little bits that you see, share with a friend. All of it really helps us. So anyways, we hope you guys enjoy this episode. We love you.
Enjoy, guys. Bye.
All right, guys, welcome back. We have someone on the pod today who Meg and I have known for a very, very, very long time. Sarah McLaren is with us today. So Meg and I know Sarah, and I'm going to do the I knew her first game here.
You did.
So
you were also the significantly better employee. Let's just be
so Sarah was both of our manager at our job in university. And have maintained kind of a friendship over the years. Like Sarah and I, after the fact, went traveling together to Europe when Megan was there too. But it's been a little while. We're just saying it's been a few years since we've caught up, which is too long, too crazy. But we're so happy to have you here today with us to kind of talk through what's been going on in your life and your journey. So welcome, Sarah.
Thank you so much. You're both great employees, by the way. You too, Megan.
Thank you. I think I was hungover about 80% of the time I worked with you, which at least I was functional, but we were in university. So I was just
par for the course.
I think I worked Saturday mornings, and
rough.
It was a rough time.
It's expected on a Saturday morning. You did great.
Thank you.
So why don't you, Sarah, kind of give us an update? So give people a little bit of backstory as to who you are, what's going on in your life in general, and then we can kind of take it on from there.
Okay. All right. That's to summarize. That's a big question in a short episode.
I really put all of the eggs into or all the emphasis on you.
So to sum up my entire life in one sentence.
Perfect.
No. So I'm Sarah. Thank you both. I love these two women, and I'm a big fan of your podcast. I came across it. Well, of course, like you had shared it, but no offense, I hadn't listened. And it's not because I wasn't trying to listen to it. It's because I had a lot of stuff going on in my life, and I actually just totally left social media for several years. And really lost track of a lot of people in my life unintentionally. And, and then all of a sudden you log back in, you're like, oh my God, you had a baby. And then I see like you guys have something for your podcast that comes up. I'm like,
our baby.
Right.
Our baby.
You guys are doing a podcast. So I put it on. This is a while back now, because now I am a super fan and I listen to all of them. And it just like really took me it was just what I needed at that time. And it took me, like, I felt like you were both there, and like, I was just having a conversation with my two friends. You couldn't hear me, but I sometimes making comments as you talked along, and I honestly, I love it.
But I do want to go back to something you said at the beginning. You said you had a lot going on in your life. You had taken a step away. You had kind of lost track of people. What was going on in your life around that time that was kind of driving those factors?
So, I've always been a pretty active person. Like I've loved to be active, and I've been really fortunate in, I like to do sports and do my yoga or Pilates or all of that fun stuff. I like adventures. And then almost 5 years ago now, which I can't believe that it has been, I thought I was just going along living my life, and I got sick. And I had it was 2021, so I think along with everyone, like I had COVID.
Yeah.
And it was, it was what it was. And then I was just kind of keen to get back to being out of isolation. I think we were isolating at that point for like 10 days. And so when I thought I was getting back to things, about 2-3 weeks after my initial infection, I got really, really sick.
Wow.
And I didn't know what it was. Like long COVID wasn't even really a very common thing, especially not in Kingston, Ontario, which is where I live, because we were really late. This feels like so long ago in so many ways.
But also just yesterday at the same time.
Right?
It's so weird.
It's so weird. So Kingston was really, really late in having COVID enter the city. So we didn't have very many COVID patients for the first, I don't know, half of the first year or something. Like it wasn't, not many people got sick. We were really lucky. So when I got sick, I hadn't talked to anyone who had this sort of reaction. And I had no idea what was going on, so I went to the doctor. They ran like blood tests, and it came back with some stuff that was kind of strange and unexplained, because I had previously, like maybe just before I had got COVID, I had run standard blood tests for something else, and everything was like, great, you're so healthy. I was, patting myself on the back for doing such a great job. And my blood work was just all over the map, and with no explanation. And so we just kept on running more tests, and it was to the point where like I couldn't walk up the stairs.
I was going to ask, what were your symptoms? Like, what were you experiencing at this point?
So this, and I've actually not talked about this since I went through it the first time and explained it. So it started with like shortness of breath. So like my cardio was not even existent. I got really, really bad vertigo. So I couldn't often stand up or like look at things like lights or sounds or scents. Actually, no, scents were fine because for a long time I couldn't smell anything. So maybe that was a saving grace that I couldn't. It was only later that the scents became a problem. Basically, just all my senses were just firing out of control, and I couldn't get them back on track. So they're like, okay, give it some more time, see what happens. So I went on a vacation.
As you do.
I don't know. I guess
that is a
was
solution.
my solution. I had a vacation already booked, and we had planned this trip. I think we were going to St. Lucia, and it was, this really kind of bougie trip that we had been looking forward to after having, trips canceled for so long. And I remember being at my doctor's and talking to my nurse practitioner, and I was like, should I just cancel? Like, what do I do? Like, I don't want to be out of the country sick. And she's like, you have medical insurance? I'm like, yes. She's like, I would recommend you go on the vacation because you need to go rest. He's like,
Yeah.
you need to go somewhere. You need to get out of the winter. It was winter at that time. She's like, you need to relax. You need to
Yeah.
get sunshine. Make sure your husband helps you carry your bags. So I was like, oh, great. I was like, I'm being taken care of. Like, he was like carrying my bags, walking me through the airport because I had to go like through like, you know, not
That's
everything was so
crazy.
stimulating.
For anyone listening, Sarah just covered her eyes. Like basically you had to like
Oh, right.
shield your eyes from like the lights, I assume is what you're saying.
Yes, the lights and the sounds were just all too much.
Wow.
But then also it was still like 2021, I think. And you didn't really want to look like you were sick going into other
Yeah.
countries. So that was also, you know, I was like, okay, like keep it together. I'm like, I'm not contagious, I'm not infectious, but I don't look great. So I went on the trip and I felt so good by the end of the trip. I was like, that was what I needed. I was like, I'm fixed and I'm like ready to get back into things. I'm ready to go back to work. Everything's great. I just needed a vacation. No, that was not correct. I went back to work and immediately the same thing. It was like I hit a wall and I had crazy symptoms. Like my list of symptoms, I think there was over 30. Like I had a huge list that I'd been tracking for my doctor, and I won't bore you with all of them. But again, like vertigo, light sensitivity, I felt like I had just been like beat up pretty much. Like every muscle in my body, my bones hurt, like my hair was falling out, my skin was dry, and my mouth was dry. It was like I couldn't do anything, and I couldn't, like I just like couldn't. Oh, and my memory, I forgot. Ironically, I lost my memory.
Well, because when we did our initial pre-call, that was what really stuck out to me. And
Yes.
what I had said to Nicole is like the Post-its. Tell us about the Post-its. And I don't know if we've reached that point in the story, but that was really shocking to me. I've never and really, frankly, like very vulnerable and scary.
Massively, yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you for the reminder. Basically, I lost, during this whole time, I was losing my short-term memory,
That's crazy.
which kind of explains why a lot of it didn't connect. And I forgot for a moment that I had that. And I, you know, had talked to Meg about this, but I couldn't remember things that I had done like a few minutes ago. Sometimes I would be having a conversation with someone and I'd get this panic because they'd be looking at me and I'd know I had just said something or they're waiting for a response. And I couldn't remember, I would just be like, then I just had to start like making stuff up almost, because it wasn't always people that I was close with. You know, I might be like at a store or
Yeah.
and it started happening. I'd be in a work meeting and I'd forget where I was. And I did find that in some cases when you forget where you're at and you're in a safe space, you know, like my husband or one of my best friends who was working with me at the time and was like so supportive. She actually reminds me a lot of Nicole now that I'm thinking of it. She just was, like I wouldn't have gone through it without her because she knew exactly what was going on and she would help me. She'd start to see when I was forgetting. And I came up with this really elaborate system with Post-it notes. And I literally, my office wall was all Post-it notes. And I had them like color-coded and just reminders of things that I had done, things I needed to do, and things like I hope to do. And I would move them around accordingly on my wall to keep track. Because the other thing is sometimes when you lose your memory, and people know about that, it can sort of you can get taken advantage of a little bit,
Yeah.
which isn't something I had really ever considered. I've been fortunate, never to really have had serious health issues before. So that was one of the things that I found was not very many people, but sometimes people would say, oh, like you told me this, or you. And just to be clear, these aren't my friends. These are
of
people
course.
in outside settings. I'm in a safe relationship in my house. It's none of that. But yeah, in some settings that came up where people sort of took advantage of that, and which would only make me question my memory even more. So I started writing everything down.
What must this have done to like your sense of self? Like this seems very like earth shattering, like all of your senses basically being attacked at the same time. How did this affect you emotionally? Because like physically we're hearing it, but like, yeah, I'm interested to know on that side if you're okay talking about it.
Yes, I am okay talking about it. It was really difficult emotionally. I was so lucky, and I thought about it so many times during this. Like, I was in a really privileged place to get sick, if that even makes sense. I have like a really supportive husband. We don't have any kids. Oh, sorry. I have a dog. She's great.
We count that. We count
She's
that.
behind me. But I don't have any kids, and I thought so many times, like, if I'd been going through this and I had to look after someone else, or if, I was caring for, an elderly family member or anyone, I don't think I would have been able to. I don't know how people did, because emotionally, I tried, I had all of the feels, I had really big feelings, and I kept on trying to tell myself, that this is just for now, and like, you're gonna be back to where you were in no time at all. You just need to do all of these things. You need to follow the steps that physio gives you. You need to do all of these different things, and then things will go back to what they were. And then I'd have another flare up. That's what I called them, or a crash. And it would be like restarting each time. So at first I kept on thinking, like, it's fine. This is just a setback. Like, it's going to take time. But after that had been going on for, over a year, I was feeling like, I think I probably said like at least 20 times to my husband, I'm like, when I thought I had gotten better or it was almost better, I was like, if this happens again, like, I don't think I'm in an emotional place I can handle it. And then like it continued to happen up to this date. But I think we're pretty resilient in ways as humans. I think I learned a lot about myself, and maybe some of the things that I was doing before weren't really setting me up for success for my physical or mental health. So I did some therapy. I did quite a bit of therapy. And I kind of had to let go of thinking that I was going to get back to be who I was before.
You had to sort of reinvent what the future you would be. Not necessarily to say that it wasn't like, quote unquote, as good as like what you were before. Maybe it's better, right? But it's a different version of yourself that you're moving into.
Which is also scary when you're older.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whoa. Older?
We're all older. I'm not saying you, like, but when you're like,
oh my gosh, shots fired, Nicole.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I am old.
I didn't say old. I said older.
No.
We're not 18 anymore.
I kid. I'm not 18.
Now I feel bad.
I'm just
It's okay.
kidding.
We're
It's
making fun of
okay.
you.
It's okay. No. Yes, it was. I think it might have been like one of the counselors I had seen, or a therapist, and she talked about like having to grieve your former self to move on, and that probably didn't happen until I was 6 months to a year in, and I had to like really let go of comparing myself to who I was before I got sick, because that's just a slippery slope.
Yeah.
And all
really,
the
yes.
No. So I was just going to say, all the while you're doing this self work, but you're also continuing to try and understand what the hell is going on, right? Because you don't have answers. So talk to us about like, not, you don't have to go into detail, I know that, but just through your experience, like, how have you arrived, I guess, at an understanding of what was going on or what is going on?
I think time helps a lot and it gives you perspective. But the other portion is, I think I've just been really, really fortunate that I have some amazing people in my life that I was able to talk to or not, because sometimes it wasn't even about wanting to talk about it, because I'm like, I had to talk to about doctors about it all day, or not all day, but like I'm constantly making notes, and I had spreadsheets, and I was going to physio, like really intensive physio, where they like track everything you do. They track like your heart rate, your HRV, everything. And I basically had to go down to doing nothing and then slowly add things back in. And my physiotherapist, actually, now that I think back, was probably also a bit of an emotional therapist, because he specialized in working with people with chronic conditions, but also with long COVID at the time. So I digress. I'm not answering your question, and I'm forgetting what it was.
All good. No, that was in part my question. I also just wanted to understand, I mean, you look amazing, you are healthy. Like, where are you at now in your health journey? And what do you know about your chronic illness?
So where I'm at is, for one, I had to choose when I was going to be like actively trying to get better and to try less hard, which was hard for me to do. I had to learn how to rest and pace, which has really carried into my life. And even if I'm never, if this is behind me one day, I think it's just something like learning how to actually rest, which is what they taught me at physio when they were actually physically tracking me resting, so I couldn't lie.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It was so important. I wasn't resting properly before. I was never resting properly. And I don't think a lot of us are.
Tell
what
us
does that
how.
mean?
What does that mean?
Okay, so do you guys know about spoon theory?
No.
Okay. So I went to physio. Basically, I was referred by a friend of a friend who was in one of the initial 2020 long COVID studies in Toronto. He was super supportive, and I can't remember his name, but he was amazing. I had never met him, but he was the only person I had known of who had this before, and he'd done all the studies, the early studies, and he talked to me on the phone, and because I felt like I was going crazy for a very long time. I've just lost it. So learning to rest and pace is something that basically everyone was on board with, all the practitioners at that point, that they knew rest was really, really good for recovering. And it's not resting with a book. It's not resting sitting on the couch with your phone. It's resting your Nicole's face.
No, because I know this. I need this. This is the problem.
Yes. It is resting both your mind, your body, and almost spiritually.
Yeah. Meditating, almost something meditative.
Less than meditating.
Blank.
So how did
Yes, this was my reaction in my appointment.
No, because when people tell me to rest or I'm sick, I'm either I'm having a nap and I'm sleeping, or I'm on the couch watching TV, or I'm on my phone or something like that. I don't understand. And this is something that I've
how did you rest?
True rest.
So it was very difficult for me to do. I failed a lot of times at it, and was told, no, you need to rest more. And by rest more, you need to do less. So no screen time, zilch. That's why. So I immediately was okay, well, I'm still working this whole time at this point. So I only used minimal screen time for what I had to do for work. So outside of work, I did not touch my screen. I used sometimes I talked to my sister on the phone, but I wasn't using social media. I wasn't doing any of that because it was too much and it took up too many spoons, which is, if you look up spoon theory in your own time, it's a way to measure how much energy you have for that day. And using screens took up too much of it. So I was only able to use screens for work, and that was that. So no screens, no listening to certain types of music. Apparently, no watching TV shows that were too intense. Nothing that could get my nervous system in a frenzy, because it was already basically running for its life, and it just needed to be still and realize that everything was okay. So it was a lot of breathing exercises, a lot of sitting with my feet up and like in a comfy chair, like an anti-gravity chair with a sleep mask on. It was really difficult to do at first. It took me a long time. Like I would sit there and I would be antsy, and then I'd start making lists in my head. And they're like, no, you need to let your mind just rest.
And the crazy thing is, I feel like as millennial women, that's the thing we do the worst. Because like we always rest 100%. Because like even if I'm sitting on the couch, I'm watching TV, I'm also probably on my phone. Like to do one singular thing, like even if I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna color tonight, I've got music or a podcast on or a show on in the background. It's very difficult, I think, in our like overstimulated society to truly strip everything else back to just be.
Yeah, someone told me the other day that this resonated with me so much. They were like, I really like going to get my nails done, but I wish I could be doing something else while I'm getting my nails done.
Yeah.
Which like literally I was
read
like, why are we like this? Like why? 'Cause I can't just, I watch TV, but they were even saying, they were like, it just feels
Wasteful.
like I feel like I'm wasting time while I'm getting my nails done. And it relates so much to what you're describing, Sarah, of just needing to figure out ways that we can rest. And I think you're right. It is about your nervous system. And like, I think about the ways that I'm coping. Like when I'm really anxious or like I'm struggling, I turn on, this is psychotic, I will turn on Law and Order or like Criminal Minds, because I know it's crazy. But I've heard people be like, oh, that resonates, because it follows the same formula and it takes all of my attention. Like I'm not on my phone. I'm not like, so I'm like, oh, I can get out of my own head and into this, crazy Law and Order situation or whatever. I don't know why I'm going down this rabbit hole right now, but I guess my point is that like, it's a huge problem. And figuring out how to rest is something I need to do too.
Well, I think this speaks to the identity portion for not just you, Sarah, but for any of us who, if we were in this scenario, because the identity we all have is so centered on like our value is so tied to like what we do for others, what we achieve, our relationships, the experiences we have. And when all of that is not only stripped back, but then the things that you necessarily would get dopamine hits out of or typically turn to in a normal, day,
absolutely,
you also can't do. I can imagine that would be
terrifying.
So terrifying, but like just absolutely shatter my sense of self in a lot of ways, or really kind of shake what my environment looks like.
It completely changed my environment.
Yeah.
But looking back in hindsight, if I don't regret it. Not that it wasn't my choice to make, but I feel like I learned so much about like my body, myself, and I was sort of forced to take a look at where like I was, but also just like as a society where a lot of millennial women and other people as well, but I think like we were always taught, you just like keep working, you have to have a hustle, you have to have a side hustle on top of your regular 9 to 5 hustle. You don't take sick days. You do whatever you do.
You don't show quote unquote weakness.
You don't show weakness. And then I'm like, that all just got turned upside down, and it should have, because that wasn't, like I said, like before, even though I wasn't having health issues, that was no way to be. I'm like, I wasn't getting enough sleep. Yes, I was exercising and eating like relatively healthy, but you can do that all you want, and you still need to look after this other portion of your body. You need to look after and make sure your body rests. Like, you need to make sure your body feels safe, and that you even know that it's okay to not be doing 6 things at once. You can do one thing. You could even do no things, because investing in yourself and investing in whatever it takes to make you feel well or be well, you're going to be more productive in the other hours if you can look after yourself, if you pencil that time in to take care of yourself.
How has this then, because I think that's brilliant, and I think it's a lesson that all of us would have to learn, and we've talked about this so many times before, that if you don't have your health, you have nothing. Like, it is truly the foundation of everything. Going through this, experiencing all of these changes, really focusing on yourself, how has this changed maybe how you look at what success is, or what your value is?
It's changed how I see things. It's changed how I value my time. It's changed how I value being well. Like, I'm so lucky to a lot of the days feel well and be able to go for a walk. And, I remember having a goal, and this was in the first 6 months or so, and I wanted to be able to, I couldn't go out for walks by myself, or really at all, but if I went, I couldn't really go out by myself. I didn't go to a grocery store for 2 to 3 years.
That's crazy.
Because I tried to go a couple times, and I had vertigo, and it was so bad, and like I had to call my husband from the car. So I had this small goal, and I tried to set like little goals that were reasonable, rather than being like, I want to, be like at the gym competing with these super athletes, because that wasn't helping. I wanted to walk to the stop sign by myself on my block, and it's not a big block.
No, but I love that.
I couldn't do it. And I used to love walking with my dog, and I still do, but I couldn't walk with my dog anymore. And I had to get my husband to walk me to the stop sign, because like I'd have to lean on him. And so I was like, I really just want to be able to go with my dog to the stop sign and back. At least I would have that independence to be able to do that on my own. And I remember when I was able to do it, like, I was so excited.
Yeah.
And it was just those little things that, like, I feel like I celebrated that more than I would have celebrated what I would have considered a big achievement previously. I was like, I made it to the stop sign. And then I was like, I need to go around the block. And it's been, and I've had really great people to work with, like my physiotherapist and my trainer and all these different medical practitioners who have just really helped me emotionally as well. But I just really value like every day where you're able to go outside and walk, or like I got really into gardening.
I love that.
I love that.
I had to stay in my backyard, right? And I couldn't do a lot of moving. I couldn't like lower my head all the way, like, so I had to find things that I could do without. So I started gardening. I started hanging my laundry outside on my laundry line, which previously we used it for string lights and had never once even, like, we didn't even know how to use it. We had fairy lights on it.
I feel like it just makes you appreciate all the little things much more.
It's like nothing makes me, and it's still to this day, nothing makes me happier than like on a nice day hearing the birds sing and being able to hang my laundry outside. I've pretty much stopped using my dryer.
I love that.
Just little things, I've just been like really lucky to to be able to see things from a different perspective, and just like the people in my life. And even what's been really nice is, like I said, like because I like went off social media, and I really didn't have any spoons to do anything but go to work and then come home and try to get through the day. So I lost touch with a bunch of people, which that did make me sad. But I've been reconnecting over the last few years, and my friends have all been amazing. And, you know, I feel like by the time you get to, I'm in my late 30s, you've sort of chosen people in your life that you want to be in your life. And, and I feel like I made the right choices, because my friends have been great. Like the people, like everyone's been so understanding. And, you know, I had like one of my best friends, I canceled plans on him for like 10 times in a row. And he still kept on inviting, and I couldn't even really explain what was going on because I just didn't have the energy.
Yeah.
And we're going to Greece in a couple months together for his birthday.
Nice.
You know, just like everyone has just been so great about it. So I just feel really, really fortunate to have these people in my life. And you know, I am a lot better than I was then. I won't take you through the whole journey because we would be here all night, but fast forward to present day, I still have ups and downs, and I still don't have the same capacity that I once had, but I'm not trying to compare myself with anyone else, and I'm not trying to compare myself especially with like who I used to be, because that's not helpful. And I like who I am now, and I'm still able to do like so many things. Like I'm working at the gym with my trainer, and which was a really big thing because I had to keep on canceling because I couldn't keep up with it. And I still cancel. Like I'm on a new medication, so I had to cancel the last like 4 weeks in a row. Sorry, Ron, but he's been so understanding, and like his wife has been great, and they've all just been really supportive. So I think that's why I was able to get back. I'd say, you know, I'm like 75% recovered, and
that's great.
The 25% is just sort of learning what works and what doesn't, and it's a lot of trial and error. But I have a lot of days where I feel really good, and I love them.
You have such a fantastic attitude, and I think anyone who's gone through any sort of health issue, a sickness of any kind, you often see one of two things happen. Either they go right back to being how they were, or they really take the lesson and the experience and they really move forward in a really positive direction. And when you were talking about just walking to the stop sign and then being able to walk around the block, no, it really brought me back because my mom, I hope she's going to be okay with me talking about this, but she was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2019. And during COVID, she was finishing her treatment and had surgery. And it was like 2 days after her surgery, I was like, we're going to go outside for a walk. We're going to walk to the convenience store. And it took so long. It really just took it out of her. Like she didn't have the strength. She just finished chemo and had this surgery. And now my mom and her best friend walk every single day without fail, rain, snow, everything. They walked the equivalent distance last year of like Ottawa to Kelowna. Like they're nuts. Like
no, it's wild. They're
crazy.
The most active people.
I love that.
She's going to be 70 this year. Like she is. But it really, what you were saying just resonated with me because so I've seen her go through this. And I think it's, you know, you can't ever control what's going to happen to you and what life is going to throw at you. But the two things you can only control in this life is your attitude towards something and the effort you put towards it. And like, I can only commend you because you have shown up like, and your effort in this was also just doing nothing, like really, really doing like nothing and trying to like, which is hard. Like that takes a lot of effort to like truly rest. But you should be so proud of yourself because again, not everyone going through or faced with something like this would have the same outcome. And you should be really proud because like I'm proud of you and I know Meg is too.
Yeah. I was going to say, like when we came into this, when we reached out, we were like, we'd love to have Sarah on the podcast when you DM'd us. And originally we were thinking like, let's talk about mortgages. because like you're an expert, so that's great. Jump on a pre-call and I'm like, oh my gosh, like what you have been through in the last few years is nothing short of like miraculous. And I think this is the types of conversations we love to have on the podcast. And I think that it's, you know, it is a story about going through chronic health issues, but it's more a story about resilience. Like you've done what I know so many people would struggle to do. So yeah, I'm proud. It's very cool.
Well, thanks, guys.
We normally end, and I feel like almost this is like after this, it's kind of hard to go back to this question. But the question we normally ask people when we have them on is, what does living well now mean for you?
So I think for me, living well, I mean, I guess it could mean a lot of things, but I think it really means having people in your life that care about you and love you, that you feel the same about them, that respect your boundaries, that don't, you know, just you're people that you can be safe with. And you also really need to, and I'm trying to say this without sounding cheesy, but you really need to like love yourself. You need to be able to put yourself first. And I know that doesn't always sit well with some people, and you know, I guess we would have to agree to disagree, but I think you have to put yourself first so you can show up for all those people that you love and want to love.
Absolutely.
So
it's a great answer.
Thank you.
Every time anyone answers this, I'm like, gosh, we've curated such good guests. Like they're so wise.
Guests.
They're so wise.
Crazy.
Well, thank you so much, Sarah. This has been such a pleasure. And you are an inspiration for anyone going through any type of chronic condition or anything that requires this type of resiliency to get up every day and continue to get better and better little by little. And yeah, you're a testament to that. So,
thank you for joining us and sharing your story.
Thank you for having me. It was so great to be here.
Yes.
We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, catch up soon. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.